This is Factory Fridays from boats.com, the show where we visit builders across America to get a first-hand look at their boat building techniques, materials, and stories.
Hi, I'm Marilyn DeMartini with boats.com, and our Factory Fridays tour here in New Jersey started at Viking Yachts. Now we've moved on to the Valhalla factory, which is part of the Viking Marine Group. And of course, no trip to Viking would be complete without spending some time with Pat Healy here. So thank you for having us. It's been great to bring Factory Fridays to see how you build Vikings and Valhallas.
Well, the one thing is that we're proud of how we do it. So we thank you for coming to show the world why we're the best boat builder today.
Well, you've described Valhalla as being on top of the mountain, and
Yes.
you've built that over 3 generations now.
Yes.
Just tell us a little bit about how that feels to take what your father and your uncle created, put it in your hands, and now you're training your family, 3 of your children working here, right?
Yes.
And what that is for the Healy family and what that means for Viking.
Well, what we do is we really enjoy building boats. I mean, that's what our family has done. Be 60 years next April 1st, and it's the only thing we've known how to do. This is what we do. We build boats and we go fishing, and that's been a key part of my life from when I was very small to today, and being able to go to the fishing tournaments. But having 3 generations, my father and uncle, in the days of getting it up and getting it going, I got involved in the late 70s, and it was still, a smaller company then. And now to see the growth over these last 25, 30 years has been phenomenal. And keep that growth going. And that's where it's all about people, and it's all about family. And why not better to have your family be part of it, because you can rely on them.
Well, to have the next generation of Viking, bringing in the next generation of Viking boats that is really geared somewhat for a younger audience as well, just really makes sense, and part of your master plan with you being the coach of a wonderful team of boat builders.
Absolutely. Well, the biggest thing is being a boat builder, and that's what my father stressed all those years, that we're boat builders. And that's what we have to do, day in and day out, build a better boat than your competition, because there's a lot of smart people in this industry. And my father said, the best way to do that is just outwork them. And that's our philosophy, and we love it.
Well, we're eager to see more about Valhalla here now, and thanks so much for having us.
Oh God, it's glad to have you, and thank you guys for taking this and telling the world about all us boat builders doing a better job every day and building for their dreams.
Well, we're going to go meet with John and see how Valhalla builds a better boat every day.
Fantastic. Let's go.
Let's go. We're going to start our walkthrough of Valhalla Boatworks here with John Leake IV, the general manager, and tell us about where we're starting this.
This area that we're in is our deck liner infusion area. The work going on behind us is each one of our deck liners for each Valhalla model, the 33, the 37, the 41, and the 46. Each of them right now is in a different phase of construction. We start each model by gel coating and skin coating the mold. Then we scuff it in preparation for dry loading all of our fiberglass materials. What's going on behind us is the boat builders are beginning to hand lay the dry materials, and they build that up layer by layer to make it ready for infusion, which is, the boat behind us is just about to that stage now.
So this is just sort of the end of the process, and this is the beginning of the process.
You got it.
And you do both infusion and hand rolling. So tell us a little bit about why and how you do those.
So we do. There's advantages to each process. We more or less analyze the advantages for each part that we build. In some cases, there's advantages where infusion makes the most sense. For example, if it's a difficult part with a lot of detail, We gain a lot of savings over hand laying when we're, I'll say, loading the fiberglass dry versus trying to wet it out the old-fashioned way. Hand lamination has its virtues as well. We have very, very good cosmetics right off of the mold using hand lamination. We have very well-designed, well-executed hand laminated parts in the first place. So it's a really, really, I'll say, tough competition between the two. Certain parts make more sense to continue to hand lay for us. We get the best combination of weight, structure, labor inputs, material inputs. So as we go through the facility, you're going to see a combination of both.
And that's part of the analysis that you explained that you do on each part, right?
Yeah, one of our big areas of emphasis is we monitor our labor inputs very, very, I'll say, accurately. So we know how much labor is going into each part, and that gives us a lot of information to work with. We're not really just winging it when we make a decision about how to process a specific part. It's information-based, it's weight-based, it's structure-based, all those key elements of the design go into that decision of whether to infuse or hand lay.
Well, I'm sure we'll see more of that as we go along. So where are we heading next?
We'll go head into our light RTM area.
All right, let's go. So this is a different process than I've ever seen set up for infusion.
Yeah, so this is our light RTM area. This has been, this is the upstairs portion of our most recent expansion. And we basically built this space to be dedicated for light RTM for all of the Valhalla models.
And light RTM is?
It's light resin transfer molding. So basically it's a version of infusion where we make a two-sided molded part that has a finish, I'll say a smooth cosmetic finish on both sides of the part, and it's resin injected. So you're getting some of the lightweight benefits of infusion, but we're also, I'll say, compressing the whole process into one day.
And this is used for things like hatches and whatever that you want to have a two-sided.
It's primarily for any cosmetic part that we want a two-sided finish on. Deck hatches, lids, doors, stuff that can fit on a workbench. That size mold is really great for light RTM.
And excellent fit and finish is one of the things that you're known for on your boat, so.
Absolutely, thank you for mentioning that.
So what are they doing here now
So what they're doing is they're preparing a large batch of parts to be infused. So we build them in batches. We prep the molds, we gel coat the molds, we dry load all the laminates and cores that go into each individual part. Then we close the mold. We bring it into this area over here, and once everything's ready, and they're preparing a large batch right now, once they're ready, they apply suction to keep the mold under pressure, and then we inject it with resin. It's a predetermined quantity because we've been building them so long. We know how many ounces of material go into each part. And once the resin is injected, once it's reached a full level, we cut it off, the part cures, and then the next day we remove it from the mold.
Sounds like you run a tight ship.
Always.
And where to from here?
We'll go to our hull lamination area.
Okay, let's head. Oh, so all the pieces are coming together here.
They sure are. This is a 41 hull that has just about finished its lamination process. This is part of our hull lamination area where we have each of our hull molds all basically in the same area. We manage it that way on purpose so that the crews are compatible with each other if we need to, I'll say, prioritize the completion of one over the other due to schedule or timing. And it's all managed by the same foreman, so he has a very good understanding of the process for each and every boat. Also, we follow the same lamination process on each and every model, down to the piece. So our hulls are constructed using fiberglass and cork kits, which are CNC cut for us. And you can see there is labels and numbers for every single piece of material that goes in there. So our boat builders basically follow the exact same process for every single boat that they build.
So every boat builder gets a kit that has everything that he or she needs for that part of, and I say she because you have a lot of women working here.
We do. We have quite a few female boat builders in production now, which is great. It's been a big help. And in this case, the kit would be for the whole crew. This group functions as a crew to build this part. In other cases, on a small part, it might be an individual taking a kit and building a part start to finish by themselves.
And then we go to the pieces that go inside the boat, Hicks?
We can. I think we'll stop by and look at our stringers, and then we'll go hit the production line.
All right, let's go. So these stringer systems are all one piece and just drop into the boat?
That's right. Each of them designed is to fit the shape of the hull so that when it lowers into place, it fits the shapes of the steps and it fits up against the transom and it fits to the bow. And of course we have transverse members that go in there as well and give side-to-side support. But yeah, each model has its own stringer grid. It's a female molded grid and we infuse it. One of the benefits of infusing this is we have consistent shape, consistent weight. So the dimensions of it are the exact same every time and it fits into the boat the exact same way every time. And we also have, I'll say, mounting locations built right in and infused right in. For example, all of our models have a seakeeper as an option. So we embed aluminum backing plates right into the stringer grid.
And that's right in here?
That would go right in this area. So that's infused right into the boat so that it's ready to receive the seakeeper right off the mold.
So it's an option, but you're prepared for it regardless.
It's an option, but almost everybody selects it.
And it seems like we have everything in various stages of production here.
That's correct, and you see the same philosophy in this area. We have this crew manage all four grids for each of the four models. So they're all cross-trained and any of them can build any of them. Meaning any of the employees who work in that area can also work over here and build this grid.
But we got the dry materials, we got ready for infusion, we've got fully infused, and just a little bit of everything has happened here in stages.
That's right, stage by stage. It follows the same process. We prepare the mold by doing essentially a clear gel coat. We dry load, then we'll put this over here. You're seeing he's beginning to put his infusion materials. That's about a day further ahead than this. In this case, they would have just began their dry loading today. That one over there, they're about a day further ahead. They have a little more dry materials in. So yeah, each one is at its own stage.
So these drop into the hull in the next stage?
Yes, they do.
Let's go then. So things are starting to come together here.
Absolutely. This is where all the major components begin to come together out here in production. This represents stage one mechanical. When our hulls are finished in fiberglass, they come into this area and our mechanics begin doing all the wiring and all the component installation below the floor. So everything that's going to be below your deck level gets installed in this stage. Simultaneous to that, all of our major deck components, meaning our lower console liner, our deck liner, our coaming, all those parts come in and get simultaneously prepared for the following stage. So what our mechanics will be doing is running all their main harnesses, all their main battery cables. Once they're done doing all their installs, we also implement a QC process at the very end of this stage that lets us know, number one, the work is complete, but number two, it's also completed right. And everything's been checked. Quality control from back to front.
Well, it's a good thing that we're here during lunchtime because I'm sure this gets to be a pretty busy and noisy place.
This is a very busy, noisy area. Our boat builders are on lunch break at the very moment. They'll be back here shortly and it's going to get busy very quickly.
Well, let's go see what's next.
Sounds good.
So we've got wiring, plumbing, lots of things going on here.
That's exactly right. This is where, like I said, indicated before, this is where all the major components come together. We take a hull coming out of stage 1 mechanical, our deck liner, our lower console liner, our coaming, all the big fiberglass parts get brought together and assembled in this area. We, in the case of our lower console liner and our deck liner, we're gluing them together. And then in addition, we go in and do some secondary fiberglass tabbing in key areas. So all the big stuff comes together, all the rough plumbing, all the rough wiring. We bring that routing out to where it's going to be terminated. And this is kind of where all the big stuff happens. After this, we begin doing more of the fine tuning and the finishing.
And it looks like there's more and more stages of each one of these boats as they move down the line.
Absolutely, there is. There's 2 more main production stages. One of the things that happens next, we can see in the very next boat, is our electricians begin installing our battery rack, which requires a lot of finished wiring. And then beyond that, deck hatches, consoles, hard tops, and so on and so forth. In addition to that battery rack, this stage is where we also begin a lot of the outfitting in our equipment room on our V46, which is very comparable to like what an engine room is on a Viking. Most of the, all the same engineering philosophy that goes into our V46 and into that equipment room, comes from that philosophy of what goes into a Viking engine room.
The DNA is all the same here.
It's all in there.
So where to next?
Let's go up the line.
All right. Really coming together here.
Absolutely. This is one stage further up the line, and you can see most of the, I'll say, finish components are being installed. The console has been installed, the hardtop frame, the hardtop, the deck hatches, and the last stage was all the big stuff coming together. Now this is all the little stuff coming together.
I really like the streamlined look here at the helm and the curved glass.
Yeah, thank you. That has been a very popular option for us. It is laminated glass, and it's very, very strong, hard glass. And it gives a lot of protection and has excellent clarity. The customers love it. It's a great look. And the streamlined shape goes with the rest of the whole dash. The whole rest of the dash has a streamlined, ergonomic, oriented type feel to it. Everything that you need is right at hand.
I like the cleanliness of it too, with the closed hatches for the instruments and radios. Nicely done.
Yeah, Viking focuses heavily and Valhalla focuses heavily on the aesthetics of everything, in addition to the ergonomics and the functionality.
And do these get helm pods like the Vikings?
It sure does. The reason you're not seeing it in this shot is we prep it off the boat and then install it all assembled in one shot, basically.
And those are generally real teak, right? There's the option for faux teak.
We do both. We do regular white fiberglass, we do faux teak on top of white fiberglass, and we do solid teak. We can do any of those 3.
That's the customization that comes along with the Valhalla.
Yes, it is.
So where do we go from here?
We should go to our final stage, QC delivery.
All right. So this one looks just about ready to go out the door.
It sure is. We're about one more day away from being 100% complete on this boat. So where we are in the facility is the end of the production line, and this is our QC and delivery stage. So while the boat is in this stage, we check every single system on board the boat. We take the boat to the water and operate every single system in the water. We run the boat through a whole series of paces and capture performance data so we have it for our records, make sure everything is tip-top. Then we bring the boat back in the building and give it a full detail. And after that, we QC the boat top to bottom, front to back, and then sometimes we even do it again. And what you're seeing, you may see a few little dots indicating a couple little QC items that get finished up at the very end. But you're also seeing the rest of the components sort of stand out. You can notice the teak ladderback helm chairs. This boat has a faux teak transom and a faux teak tow rail. Some of that stuff is covered up during production, to protect it, you can't really see it. And now you can start to see the boat look like a boat.
What's really impressive is the gloss and the look of your whole hull.
Yeah, thank you. So the hull looks great right out of the mold. That's one of the things that sort of stands out about our hand lamination process that I mentioned before. We have a really well-designed, well-executed hull laminate, and the cosmetic finish right out of the mold is excellent. We hardly have to touch the hull. We just buff and polish. You know, there's a few assembly joints that, you know, are put together on purpose that get a bit of a, post-production finish, but the main sections of the hull sides are all just buffed and polished.
And it seems like most of the power boats are quad.
So yeah, this is a 41. Our most popular application on the 41 is quad engines. On the 46, which is beside us, we do triples and quads. Of course, that boat gets 600 horsepower engines. And fortunately, you know, we designed that boat to handle that high horsepower right from the get-go. You know, we were able to work with Mercury early on, and we adapted our transom design right from the beginning to handle quad 600 horsepower engines.
And that's on the 55 as well, correct?
Yeah, the 55 can handle quads or quints. So that transom is even more robust.
Well, it's been fascinating to see how it all comes together here at Valhalla, and we're so happy to have had the opportunity to see the entire Viking Marine Works, or at least a good part of it here.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a pleasure having you, and it's a pleasure to show off what we do. So thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us for Factory Fridays on boats.com.
This is Factory Fridays from boats.com. Follow boats.com on YouTube and Instagram to stay tuned for the next episode. Visit boats.com for more videos and boat-related content. Boats.com. Everything boats.